Canadians get a better Siri. Amazon continues its Netflix attack. Print is dead. March Madness has begun, and 400 LTE markets for Verizon in 2013. It's Thursday, March 15th, 2012, and this is iWake. I'm Tim Chaten, and this is what's going on in the Apple world today. Before beginning today's episode, I first want to remind everybody that the iWake podcast app is now out in the App Store. Just search for iWake and you'll find it. The app will stream, download, and give you access to the podcast even when I forget to update the RSS feed. Most importantly, it's a great way to show your support of iWake with the iWake app. You can find it in the App Store by searching for iWake. It's universal, so it'll work on your iPad and iPhone. Also, make sure to subscribe to my weekend podcast, iWake Again. This paid podcast is what funds the show you're watching or listening to. Without your financial support at iWake Again, this podcast that you hopefully enjoy cannot exist. This is what I do. This is how I make my living. So help me make a career out of podcasting and doing this full time, doing videos on YouTube, doing this kind of stuff just for you guys over by subscribing at iWake Again over at iwakepodcast.com/again. I appreciate all the support you guys can give me. And with that, let's get on to the news for today. Kicking off today's episode is some general Apple news. To begin is Siri in Canada. The Canadian-focused site iPhone in Canada reports that Apple's quietly updated Siri to be able to answer more questions in Canada, which we've noticed, or they've noticed, I should say, in the past few weeks. Siri, can now answer, what time is it in? What time is it? Without mentioning your location in the question. So priorly, you had to say, what time is it in Toronto? Now you can just say, what time is it? Because it knows your location now. Here are some example questions that Siri can now answer that she could not before. What time is it? What is the weather today? What will the high-low temperature be today? Is it going to rain or snow today? Location services such as restaurants are still a no-go for if you're in Canada, but it is nice to see these basic features being added for Canadians. In other general Apple news is an update to Aperture. The latest update to 3.2.3 has the ability to remove photos from your photo stream. The update is 635.54 megabytes if you download it from Apple's support site, or 550.8 megabytes if you download through software update. I'm not sure about the Mac App Store. It's probably there as well. Thanks to the Mac Observer for pointing out this update. Closing out general Apple news today is a bit of news about Obit, which got acquired by Apple late last year. Parth Debar writes for Tech Buzz that Obit has started to recruit workers after a round of layoffs which took place earlier this year. Obit dismissed dozens of employees in sales, marketing, and sales and administration right after the acquisition and closing its enterprise server activity. Now, Obit is focused just on development of storage efficiency chips for Apple products. Nothing really shocking here, and it is expected that the acquisition would make the company more focused on just what Apple bought them for. Thanks to Jim Dalrymple over at The Loop for pointing out this story. Now let's move on to some competitor news today. So to begin is Amazon and their ever-growing streaming video catalog. Yesterday, the company announced that they added even more content. According to Jeff Bezos, we're announcing our biggest addition yet, bringing nearly 3,000 more titles to Prime Instant Video. So before moving on, I love how they always say in every one of these new content deals, it's the biggest addition yet. Every single time, no matter what it is, it's the biggest yet. So from there, let's move on. We struck a deal with Discovery Networks to bring some of the highest quality nonfiction, informative, and entertaining content around the world to our Amazon Prime customers. Rolling out over the next few weeks are TV shows from Discovery, TLC, Animal Planet, and Science. Prime members at no additional cost can now stream more than 17,000 titles. The new titles include hits such as Deadliest Catch, Mythbusters, Man vs. Wild, Dirty Jobs, Gold Rush, Alaska, and Shark Week. TLC series like Say Yes to the Dress and Cake Boss, as well as content like How It's Made from Science and the Jeff Corwin Experience from Animal Planet. So that's their announcement. Amazon is becoming more and more of a content provider, and it's a cool thing to see. Netflix now has some competition, as does Apple. Unlike Ultraviolet, this gives good competition that the studios are helping to support. I'm still holding out for an iOS app that'll let me stream videos from Amazon to my iPad. Anyways, great news for Amazon Prime members, as these videos are included with your subscription. So let's move on to the other competitor watch story of the day, and that is the death of the 244-year-old Britannica encyclopedia. According to the New York Times, after 244 years, the Encyclopedia Britannica is going out of print. Those coolly authoritative gold letter sets of reference books that were once sold door to door by a fleet of traveling salesmen and displayed as proud fixtures in American homes will be discontinued. The encyclopedias will be focused now on its online versions and educational versions of those for schools. The company is not dead, but it is instead moving ahead with the times. It is the digital age, and the company has seen this. It is an interesting move from the company that will save thousands of trees from being turned into books. An interesting story that doesn't directly compete with Apple, but showcases the changing wave of ebooks and media and information consumption now with iPads and devices like that. So out of competitor news today and into some iPad news, as it is pretty much the big iPad week of unveiling here. So first up are some sample photos taken with the new iPad. Since this is mainly an audio show, I won't try to show these in video or audio, as it's impossible. The photos, I just have to say, look impressive, especially compared to the laughably bad iPad 2 camera. You can view these photos by heading over to MacRumors.com, where they have an article all about this. I've linked to it in the show notes, found on iWakePodcast.com, and it can be found in the enhanced version of the AAC, which is available in iTunes if you just search for iWake Podcast. In other iPad news, I wanted to simply remind folks that Apple does have a reuse and recycle program that allows you to send in your old iPad to help save your wallet for the new iPad. You won't get rich off of this program, with a maximum of $320 being offered for a pristine 64GB 3G-enabled iPad. So it's $320 for one of those. The program is for those that need a little extra cash and feel good that Apple put your iPad to good use and not just throw it away. In the past, Apple has donated iPads to schools and things like that. I'm not sure if that will happen again, but it is possible. Head on over to store.apple.com/us/reuse_and_recycle if you'd like to participate. Closing out iPad news is the brief mention of the March Madness app for iOS. It's usable on both iPad and iPhone, but the iPad version I think is much better because of the big screen. The app will let you keep up with your bracket, check scores, and listen to live audio. For $4, you'll have live streaming access to every NCAA basketball game for March Madness. A word of warning, you'll need to have your iOS device in America for the video streaming to work. The $4 charge is also a change from years past. It was totally free last year. The $4 price point is not a big deal, not a huge price for the pay. The entertainment value is there if you use this app on a daily basis. I've heard from reviewers that this app is kind of buggy, so buggy in fact, that they weren't able to view the videos, but I wasn't able to confirm that. So if it is buggy and you're not able to view the videos, it may be a waste of money, but I'll let you know if it really is. I'll be testing this app out as time goes by this month, and I'm sure I'll be watching some basketball games through my iPad this year. The app is in iTunes. Just search for March Madness. Moving on is some news regarding cell phone carriers, and that's what's going to be closing out the show today. First up is a follow-up on AT&T versus Sparcelli's throttling lawsuit. A settlement has been offered and turned down by Sparcelli. According to the Associated Press, AT&T is offering to discuss a settlement with an iPhone user who won a small claims case that alleged the company was slowing down his unlimited data service. And allegedly, and that's pretty much true. The law firm retained by AT&T Incorporated also threatened in a letter dated Friday to shut off Matthew Sparcelli's phone service if he doesn't sit down to talk. The phone company doesn't say if the settlement would involve money beyond the $850 award at the small claims court. that he won on February 24th. In its letter, AT&T asked the defendants, Marcelli, or I guess I'm not sure what you call it, but asked Marcelli to be quiet about the settlement talks, including the fact that it offered to start them. So you're not allowed to talk about them. That's another common stipulation with these. So Marcelli said he was not interested in settling and forwarded the letter to the Associated Press. So Marcelli says he doesn't care. The important thing to him is defeating AT&T in court. That's what really matters to him. AT&T did not comment further on its offer, as they would not. I would not expect them to. I love what this guy's doing. So sticking it to AT&T, this is awesome. There's no reason for the company to throttle. It makes customers hate you, encourages customers to leave your network, is overall a bad thing for people that pay you money. If they pay you money, you should be thanking them for using your service, not trying to cut off their necks by slowing down your data to unusable speeds. AT&T's loyalty is going to be dead if the company continues this throttling policy, so I'm hopeful they'll revise their plans with throttling people over 3 gigabytes. Closing out today's show is Verizon, promising another 200 LTE markets by 2013. This would be doubling their current market output, I guess, is the way to say it. According to The Verge, the company aims to offer the service in 400 markets by 2013, up from about 200 today. David Small, Verizon's chief technical officer, also revised the company's coverage estimate from 250 million to 260 million Americans by year end, noting that Alaska will be the only state without LTE service by that time. An impressive goal that I'm excited to see carried out. I can only hope that this inspires AT&T to push ahead even faster. Competition is a good thing, and hopefully this inspires some competition in America. Well, that's what's going on in the Apple world today. If you like this show, head on over to iTunes to leave a review. Really, head on over. I love when I see reviews. It makes my day happy, and makes my day happier, I should say. And it also just helps other people discover this show in iTunes. So head on over, iTunes, search for iWake, leave a review. Simple. Done. Do it. Next up, subscribe to iWake Again. iWake Again is what funds this podcast you are listening to or watching. iWakePodcast.com/again is how you sign up. It's $10 a month, which equates to about a quarter or even less than that per daily episode that you listen to. And I believe my show is worth at least a quarter to you people listening. So I hope it is. And if it is, I believe it is, sign up to iWakePodcast.com/again. The Again podcast is a way you can show your financial support as well as and gives you more content. Every Saturday, I have a new episode out that's around 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes in length that are interviews, discussions, and just all around Apple talk. So that's pretty cool, I think. I get some awesome guests, and we just knock around Apple news. This week, I'm going to be talking about the iPad mini and the whole thing that websites do with link baiting and why people do it, stuff like that. So it's going to be a fun discussion around that this week. So before just leaving you, I want to mention once again, iWakePodcast.com/again. That's iWakePodcast.com/again. Join me tomorrow for another edition of iWake. Aloha.